Joined now by Liberty head football coach Hugh. Coach, I believe I got it right. Your team is 6-0. They are on a roll. You're on a bye week now for Halloween, and then you close out with Virginia Tech, with Western Carolina, with NC State, and I believe with UMass and potentially Coastal Carolina. So a lot going on here in general. But what has this season felt like for you? And I guess it feels really good not to be coaching from a hospital bed at a minimum.
you know that's right, Clay. It's been an interesting 2 seasons for sure with the staph infection last year and then the COVID issues this year. And but man, I tell you, to be sitting here undefeated in year 2 at Liberty is it's just kind of euphoric, and just feel very, very fortunate and blessed. Our kids are, even though we still have a roster that's probably at least 50% FCS recruited players, to be where we are sitting here today in our open week is, man, it's awesome, and it's just great to see our kids and staff and university getting some notoriety because of it. So it's pretty awesome.
Would you have believed that you guys could be 6-0? And I believe I'm
No,
correct about 6-0. If I had told you, hey, when it gets to Halloween week and you hit a bye, I know it's been a crazy and there's been a lot of different changes to the schedule, but would you have ever believed 6-0 was possible?
not really. I do. We've been fortunate everywhere I've been, whether it was Lambeth or Arkansas State or Ole Miss, to turn programs very quickly. And obviously going to a bowl game in year 1 and winning it last year was one of the most gratifying seasons that I've had as part of a team and staff. But you still not having spring ball, and then looking at your schedule, knowing you're playing a 9-win Western Kentucky team out of the gate, and then the FIU, who I know how many athletes they have, and the Southern Misses, and even the Monroes. I guess I can't get out of my mind the type of athletes I know those schools have from those areas. And you don't have to be I've told a lot of people, if you were to measure those teams in the 40-yard dash or in the vertical jump and the short shuttles and all that, we probably don't have a chance. And then the Syracuse win, their first ever win against an ACC opponent. It's just been, man, I love our team and our staff and our kids, but I probably would not have believed it if you told me that.
What do you attribute the shift in direction to? What have you done in 2 years at Liberty that has led to a team being able to be 6-0?
I really think it's, I've used the same plan everywhere I've been, and I've never wavered from it. And I think it brings a chemistry, and I'm pretty self-aware of who I am and what my strengths are and what my weaknesses are, and really try to hire people that really balance my weaknesses, that can pick me up where I'm not real strong, and then play to my strengths to where I am. And I do think that our kids just see a consistency in me forcing people to meet a standard that we set daily. And I think it breeds confidence in them. And obviously, you got to have great quarterback play in college football. You just can't win games without that, and without a pretty dang good defensive line. And I think we hit in our one recruiting class on some good defensive linemen, and obviously Malik Willis is playing at a huge level, and a lot of credit to him. And I hired a great quarterback coach in Ken Austin, who, I'm not a great quarterback fundamental coach. That's really not my strength. I'm more of a big picture guy, and we'll say, here's what I want to do. Now you make sure his footwork and timing are right on it. But so I think it's a combination of all those things. Is just we've got a great staff that's on the same page, and the kids see that, and hopefully they see a consistency in the way we approach every day.
Are you a better coach now than you were when you were at Ole Miss?
No question. Man, when you're raised as an offensive coordinator, and all you think about is, man, I'm gonna bring a fast-paced, RPO-driven football team that gives people problems, and I'm gonna try to get as many plays as I can and score as many points as I can, and because that's what you want to be known as. And then that's worked for me most years, and worked for me at Ole Miss the first four. But we began to struggle defensively, and man, looking back, Clay, in year 5 there, had I just managed the game like I do now, I think there's a good chance we had a chance to beat Alabama 3 straight years. We're up 24-3, and Florida State we were up 3 scores on, and I did not manage those games the way I do now. The 2 years I had off, I just did a lot of research, a lot of studying, and man, I became just so aware of complementary football and how if you can keep your defense. So our 6 games this year, I believe I'm right in saying 5 of the 6, our defense has only played around 60 plays instead of the 85 I used to make them play. And so I just manage the game differently now, and I think you just mature as a coach, and I think that's the biggest difference. I don't approach practice any different or the way I deal with kids or staff any different at all, but I do. You let us get up a few scores, and I start trying to figure out, all right, how do we just get this thing to the house?
Do you enjoy the wins more now after what you went through at Ole Miss?
There's no doubt, man. I look back at the Lambus and Arkansas States, and man, I was at such peace there, and at Ole Miss too, for a large part of it. But that last year and a half to 2, I really believe you either drive this profession or it drives you, and when you start letting it drive you, man, your ego and your pride, and it can really change. It can even, obviously make you get in positions where you make decisions that, man, you regret. And, I'm just at a point, I'm at peace now, and I don't, my biggest thing is, can I get to the end of the day and lay down and not have any regrets? And that's the way I want to, finish my life, my coaching, my friendships, my relationships with my family, and it's just it's just so much more enjoyable. And man, if I were to tell you our schedule here, you would probably laugh at me, but I don't let it drive me, man. I want our coaches home with their families by 6:30 every night, except for one. We do spend one night grinding pretty hard, but the rest of them, I want them out of here. I want them going to eat with their wives and their kids and at their baseball games. And so we moved our practices to the morning, and it's just I think we all enjoy it a lot more.
How do you prepare for a team like Virginia Tech when it's a bye week? So what's different about having 2 weeks to get ready for a team, especially a team as good and in your state there? Obviously, it'd be a big game for Liberty, probably the biggest that Liberty's ever played as a university from a football perspective. What do you do? What's different?
Watching film on them, it's a huge task. I mean, they're just, they're full of Power 5 players, and so it's hard to see that we match up greatly on film. That doesn't mean, but the great thing about football is you don't have to be better 10 days. You just have to be better that one day. And having an extra week, I do think is beneficial for us in the fact that, number one, we needed to get some people healthy at 2 positions. We've played the last 3 games without some really good players, and so we're going to get healthy. And then we took Tuesday, today, and tomorrow, and we really are just focusing on certain scenarios in that game that's coming, whether it be P&10s, whether it be goal line, whether it be, and we're not overdoing it, but we're really focusing on those particular areas that gets us a jump start before we head into next week. And I think it does pay dividends. This was a great open week because, next Tuesday is election day and we can't practice. And so that's everyone. And so some people are going to lose a day where in the fact we've gained it in this open week.
We're talking to Hugh Freeze. You are 51 years old, I believe, or about to be 51 years old if you're not already.
Mm-hmm.
You've already had a lot of success in college football. Some people are going to look at the success at Liberty and say other bigger schools are going to come calling, seeing what you have done in 2 years at Liberty. Do you expect that? And if that happens, what will you say to them?
Well, I hope I would expect it, and I think that speaks volumes for what our administration and our kids have done here. And I actually told our team that yesterday. I'm very transparent with our kids and tell them, man, anything you read or hear is a compliment to you, and you should take that as a compliment. And obviously that's something that this profession brings. And I tell them if there's ever a chance that I would have an interest in doing anything different, they would be the first to know that I have an interest in something. And but man, I'm at a point. I used to kind of think, when you're trying to fight to climb that ladder and do that, man, you're trying to make a phone call or do something. And I don't do any of that anymore. I just am thankful for Liberty. I'm thankful that they took the time, like you did, to sit down with Jill and I, hear our story, and give us this opportunity. And we found a tremendous home here. So I have a great, great job. And I don't think any coach can ever say, hey, I'll never leave a certain job until you get to a certain point in your life. But I can tell you this, there's very few that would interest me to leave here. But obviously those are going to be talked about, and I just want to be honest and transparent with our kids as through this whole process. But man, Ian McCaw is an absolute gem for an AD, and obviously I love the vision that they have here, and they put their resources behind it. And I really think you can build this into being one of the top non-Power 5 schools in the nation in a short amount of time. And so Jill's happy here. My girls are happy here. And we're blessed.
Do you ever watch SEC games? Do you have any? I always like to ask coaches. I mean, I know you guys are, locked and loaded on what you're doing, but you coached at Ole Miss. Do you ever sneak a glance at what Lane Kiffin is doing or what Mike Leach is doing down at the school that used to be your rival at Mississippi State, or even, kind of pay attention to what Saban and the crew at Bama are doing?
Of course. I TiVo all those games, and whenever I can find time. We've been fortunate this year. We've had all like noon kicks. I love those. And so you get home and man, I have all those games TiVo'd, and I typically don't sleep well on Saturday nights because you're either jacked up on adrenaline from the win, or you're disappointed if you lose a game. And so man, I'll run through those games and watch them. Obviously, I still have a lot of friends in the SEC, and so I kind of want to see what they're doing and how they did. And but I usually TiVo most all of those games. Just so I can kind of watch and see if I can get an idea or something. And obviously, you have friends like Nick and Gus and Kirby and those guys that have been really loyal friends to you. And so you want to watch those games and see how they're doing.
What happens next? You got 6-0. You got a lot of tough games left. What is a successful season? You may already be there for Liberty to finish out this run. We're talking with Liberty head football coach Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, I think we've already had a successful season, and I will be determined not to let anything that happens from this point on diminish it in these kids' eyes. Now, do we want more? Absolutely. We're going to find every way in the world to try to compete. But, when you're looking at that schedule and you've got, I don't know I hadn't seen the top 25, but I know last week both NC State and Virginia Tech and Coastal were in it. And, those are some very, very difficult games that, again, having only one full season to recruit, it's really your roster's not quite where you want it to be. I love our kids, and it's nobody's fault because they were FCS recruited. That's what they played. So it's so I think we've already had a successful season. By the old rules, we're already bowl eligible, which is our goal each year. So we're already there. But do we want more? Absolutely. And do we expect more? Yes. But certainly think that we've already had a successful season.
Good luck, Coach. Keep us updated, and appreciate you swinging by and hanging with us.
Oh, Clay, anytime, man. Thank you for your kindness.